Okay guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be replacing the Bank 1 Sensor 102 sensor on a 98 Lexus, and I have the other video up on how to replace the Bank 2 Sensor 1. Now this sensor is much more difficult, but I don't want you to think it's exceptionally hard or anything. It's not. I probably did this entire procedure in under 15 minutes. So I think probably anybody can handle this. You will need, the only special tool you'll really need is you'll almost certainly want to have an O2 sensor socket, which I'll show you in the video. But I just wanted you to get a feel for how this one's different from the other O2 sensor from our previous video, which is on the front of the engine, very exposed, easy to get to. This one is on the back of the engine, between the engine and the firewall, and really the only way to get to it is from underneath the car. So let's get started. I'll show you how to get to it and how to take it off, and you'll be done in no time. Okay, let's start by coming underneath the vehicle from the front, following the exhaust manifold, and right here, and it's really hard to get the camera in it, but you can see right here poking out is the O2 sensor itself. And this, unfortunately, it's really hard for me to get good camera angles, just because it's actually kind of hard to even get your hands in there, let alone the camera in one hand and actual tools in the other. But you can kind of see right here, this cross member underneath the car kind of is the main thing that's in your way. But you can do most of your work from this back side right here, even though I can't really show you with the camera. I'm pointing to it with my finger. This is where the O2 sensor is. I just can't get a good angle on it, but this is the side where you can probably do most of your work, although some of it you can do from the other side as well. The first step is going to be to grab the wire and follow it up to the connector, and this one disconnects just like the other one. I had no trouble. I reached up with one hand, and I'll show you the tab. I squeezed the tab really hard with my thumb while pulling on the cable with my other hand, which obviously I can't do while holding the camera, but I simply pressed the tab with my thumb, pulled on it with my other hand, and the sensor disconnected fairly easily. If you did have trouble with it, you could stick a flat-bladed screwdriver in there and get it to disconnect if you struggled with it. But again, this car's got 17 years on it, and I still had no trouble disconnecting this sensor. And this is obviously the first time it's ever been replaced. So now that I've got that disconnected, the next step is going to be we're going to have to get the O2 sensor socket out. And I want to show you what that looks like. You can pick these up at any store. I grabbed this one from AutoZone. And you just see it's got a slit in the side, and I'll show you briefly how you use it if you've never used one of these. Basically, that slit in the side is for the cable, for the wire from the sensor, so that it fits in the side. That way you can get the socket over the O2 sensor, even with the wire attached to the back. And a lot of times you can use a wrench, just the same. A 7/8 wrench would do the same. Just in this case, I find it pretty hard, although I'm going to show you how to use both. So as far as the socket goes, I kind of wedged the socket on there, got my 3/8" ratchet on the socket, and I didn't have to use any sort of lubricant or anything to break it loose. I obviously broke it loose before you see this, but that was about all it took for me, was just a little bit of effort on the socket wrench, and I got it out. If not, maybe you go get some PV penetrant or something, and that might help you take it out. So here's the old one and the new one. As far as the new one goes, I simply threaded it back in there. No trouble with that. And I'm showing you how you can actually get to it with a wrench, although I find it to be much slower. But you can actually use a wrench to get to the O2 sensor if you don't have a socket. Just need a 7/8 wrench. And then once you get finished with that, you're just going to have to reach your hand up in here and plug the socket back in. I read some other people on the internet who had built tools out of stiff wire and even coat hangers to help plug it in. I'm not sure why. I don't know if something was different, but I had no trouble just reaching my hand up there and plugging this in, even one-handed while holding the camera. And unfortunately, I know it causes bad angles, but I just wanted to give you the basics on how to replace this sensor. And I think anybody can pretty much do it. It might be a little trouble, but I know you can do it. So good luck, guys.